So what's something that happened on set that you're going to take to your next feature? Maybe something that went really right, or maybe something that went really wrong that you thought, okay, we got to remember this for next time.
Car rigs.
Car rigs, okay.
Yeah, we lost. We were expecting like I think a half day of a car rig, and it ended up turning into 2 full days of car
Oh
rig
no.
plus rain. Those were
Oh.
our first 2 days on set. So again, we had our very finite number of days. And I think two of those actual rigged angles that we got, I don't even use in the movie. I
Of
basically
course.
used 2 shots in the whole car, and then I use the other ones for like really specific, almost like inserts. So I just think that's really funny, just kind of how that happens. But so that was a big learning for me, which led to what I felt like was the most important sort of day of the shoot. Is we had one daytime shoot left, and then we had to flip over to do nights, because I think we had 9 days and 9 nights, or it was something overnights, like it was something a lot of overnight shoots, days in our shoot, and we had one daytime left, and I think I was like 5 scenes behind, because of the car rig and just losing because of a little bit of rain. And so for me, kind of the most pivotal moment was with Carlos, we kind of looked at our schedule. We looked at what we needed to shoot. We said, that's not possible. And so in the moment, I had to readjust some scenes and cut some scenes and kind of re-band-aid the script a little bit, so that, what used to be 3 scenes, I actually can now combine and make it one scene that actually happens right over there, instead of happening, so that I don't have to move anywhere, so that we can shoot it much faster, so that we actually just can get it shot. For me, I think that was one of the biggest days on the entire shoot, because I basically chopped like 4 pages out of the script in about 30 minutes.
Wow. Yeah.
And I think, looking back on it, the way it cut together, I just think it makes for a much better movie, actually. I think it actually helps with the pacing, of our sort of middle of Act 2 a lot more than if I had that little bit extra bloated fat in there. And so for me, that was a huge moment of learning the confidence of, you can plan and storyboard, and I mean, you can do everything that you possibly can do to prepare, but the moment that like the camera is set up and the setup is right and you're going, that's kind of the only reality that there ever is, and it's going to change, and you've got to be open, and you've got to be adaptable, and you've got to be, especially if your back's against the wall, you've got to trust that you know how to tell the story in no matter what way you have to tell it. So for me, that was probably the biggest single moment that I'll take with me.
Yeah. So for me, I think it's an overall, like, I didn't realize how badly a lot of people get treated on set. My production team, Jack Young, January Knight, and Carlos Velasco, did such a great job at making it a positive set and keeping any of the stressful things happening kind of up at the producer's table, and never letting it come down onto the set where all the crew and the talent were working. And I've just gotten so many phone calls and text messages from all of our crew since we wrapped, who are now working on other things, including big studio projects, and saying how our set was just so much more organized, so much more enjoyable to be on, and so much more pleasant. And I thought it was an expectation that you treat people kindly and make it not stressful and make it fun. Because to me, filmmaking is supposed to be fun, right? Like I love being on set.
Yeah.
So I think my biggest takeaway is how important it is to do that, because, you know, our crew is getting swampy with us. Like our guys are getting bit up by mosquitoes and sunburn, and there were so many bugs. So it like there were many aspects that could have made it a very unpleasant shoot, but for people to still be calling well over a year later and saying how enjoyable of a shoot it was, to me as a producer, that's the biggest compliment I could have gotten. And I'm going to make sure that that stays a priority, you know, no matter what set I walk onto in the future.
That's great advice. And it's something to be very aware of.
People first.
Yeah. And you're not really aware of how other people are being treated until you know, you get in your kind of bubble, especially if you're in the middle of shooting and stuff. It's hard. It's easy to forget that there's other people, human beings, walking around, and it's good to check on people. Like, you know, you guys okay? You know, because they probably don't want to complain. Hey, I'm literally being eaten alive by bugs. Can you do something? They don't want to complain about it until you ask. Like, well, actually, I'm being eaten alive by bugs.
It's you know, it's tough after 7 straight days where it's 4:30 a.m. and you're standing, you know, ankle deep in a marsh, and you can see all the bugs that have died on the china ball that's up above you. Like there after a certain time, you're like, man, these guys are just champions. We need to take care of these guys. These guys are these guys are just pulling this whole thing out for us, and you know, just because it's independent doesn't mean it has to be shoddy.
Right.
And I think you know, especially with the Rust like tragedy and everything, we've been keeping a close eye on that. It's just it just really boggles my mind how irresponsible people just can be, and how many incorrect choices just really, you know, grown adults can make continuously. You just gotta treat people the right way, because at least we found that, like, if you're telling a story that is authentic and a story that just means something, at least to you, and you treat people the right way, and you do know what you're doing, and it's coming together, and it feels like something that we can be proud of, that we watch it, people will go to the ends of the earth for you. Like, people want to do a great job. You know, the gaffers, the electricians, the grips, like they want to do a great job for you and help you get a great movie. So people will put their trust in you, and it's a really privileged place to be given the trust of that many people, and you just have to be responsible with it. No amount of money is more important than a single person on your crew, and it just can never be. And I think that just got to start with the indie world. I mean, if you can't count on, oh, well, it'll be better when I do a union thing, because as we're seeing, it's not.
Yeah.
And so it's just, I think Hollywood, I think entertainment, just kind of whatever the world of movies is called now, I think it's just ready for some humanity, and just something new stories, new ideas, but also just a new way of operating, a new way of people treating each other. I think everyone's just kind of ready for that from what I've seen. And I was really proud that just the fact of we kept everyone safe for, 23 days while we were down there.
Yeah,
and all of the COVID testing we did while we were down there, and all of our commitment. You've gotta spend the money in the right ways. You've got to spend money for your people. Is that extra piece of glass? Is that extra crane arm? Is that worth, the piece of budget that could be going to crafty for these guys, or beer in someone's fridge? Like, when you're making stuff for so little, you have to sort of think through that. And it really does go a long way when you do think of those kind of little human things.
Yeah, we actually ended up double paying for food the last 4 or 5 days because our caterer decided on the day we switched into overnights that they couldn't deliver hot food for our dinners
Because
at midnight.
it was like 1 a.m. or something they had to deliver.
Yeah. So they delivered like cold meatball subs.
Uh,
And I remember
it was awful.
AJ looking at me and being like, is my crew eating cold meatball subs? Like, this is not okay. And the caterer, because of the contract, you couldn't get a refund on your money. They also wouldn't give us warm meals. So AJ's dad brought his grill out at 1
nice.
a.m.
Oh, lifesaver.
That's
And
awesome.
he was grilling hot, hamburgers and hot dogs and chicken patties for the crew at 1 o'clock in the morning. And I'll tell you what, when we did the crew screening, everyone called him Papa Smurf on set. Everyone remembers Papa Smurf's midnight grilling.
Oh, it was life saving. It really is. It was life saving.